Hi, this is Mickie Kennedy of eReleases, and welcome to chilly Baltimore. Today I'm going to talk about preparing the perfect PR pitch. Okay, you've found your story, you've lined up a positive quote by someone in the company or an objective third party like a professional business analyst or other expert in the industry. You have your facts, and you're ready to develop your story. What do you do from there, and how do you move on? Now, you have the facts and the figures, but here's 4 tips you really need. The first is the perfect PR pitch, the note you need to strike the story. You're selling an idea about you and your company, and you may be selling it to someone who's jaded, and many times journalists are. So you've really got to win them over. And objectivity works, facts worked, and you want to flood the journalists with ideas, stories that will be captivating to their audience, and that's where you can really come forward and really drive a story home and make it something that'll be captivating to journalists. You may want, some people talk about the elevator pitch, and what they're really selling there is brevity. You want to synthesize what your story and idea is down to a small 15, 20, 30-second pitch, and make sure you've got that when you're developing your story, and make sure that's covered in the headline, opening paragraph. The next thing is you have to decide whether you want to do a shotgun approach or a rifle approach. A rifle approach, if you're familiar with hunting, it's good for long distance, and it can really just drop an animal. When you're doing a story that's appropriate for rifles, the rifle approach, it's a story that's going to be interested to a niche, like a particular industry, and you want to focus. There may be jargon, technical speak, so you're really writing for your particular industry. A shotgun approach is something that might be more general interest, and it may be appropriate for like consumer publications, and sometimes there's overlap. So you're pitching it to general interest publications, but technology sector will also cover it, and maybe software. So you want to find that balance and make sure that your press release is speaking to the right audience. You really only have one shot with a single press release, and you want to make sure that you're choosing the right weapon and the right ammunition. Also, when you're doing a press release, one of the things that you really want to focus on is whether the right medium is being used. With service like eReleases, you're getting email distribution, and you're also getting newswire distribution through newswire feeds. What you're not getting is an email pitch. PR professionals, including people who are within a company and reaching out to media, email is an avenue for that. Another one is fax. A lot of people think fax is completely dead, and it's not. You can use a fax pitch very effectively, and some reporters report that they actually enjoy a fax pitch over a telephone pitch. But here's something you can't do with a fax pitch, and that's like do a 180 and spin a different pitch. When you've got someone on the phone and you're talking to them, you give them your pitch, and you can tell they're not really being receptive. A good PR professional can say, well, I can tell you're not interested in that, but how about this? This is something else that we're doing. Here's a different angle. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of those avenues available when you do a telephone pitch. The one thing that I recommend that you never do is never call a journalist without knowing what they write about and having not read some of their stories. You really want to know what they cover, how they write, what their beat is, and sometimes just talking about something they wrote recently and relating that to your company can do wonders for you. Another thing is the follow-up. A lot of people are notorious for emailing a press release and then immediately calling the journalist and saying, hey, did you get that? That's really annoying. You may want to follow up in a couple of days, maybe a week. Email works best, and they may not respond. Reporters and journalists are busy, and that's just the nature of the business. If you do pick up the phone and follow up, I recommend that be prepared to learn, because what you'll find is some things will work for some people and some things won't. Keep a Rolodex, develop because these are contacts you're building, and you want to take notes. This person really didn't seem receptive on the phone. How can I work on that? Maybe over the next few months, I can email them and tell them I really like this article, and just create some goodwill if you felt some bad will was there on your initial phone call. But hopefully, with these ideas, you can perfect your perfect PR pitch and start getting some media attention. And if you want to ask your question to Ask Mickie, all you have to do is send an email to askmickie@ereleases.com, and I promise to personally answer some of your questions, and I look forward to answering your question in the future. From Chile, Baltimore, I am out. See you later. Bye.